Winchester sucked. I'm Acadia Einstein, and this is Strangeful Things.
Sheltering in place is not advised, as your survival cannot be ensured in that scenario.
Well, this practically caused me to just get you destroyed.
Unsolved, unresolved, and super complicated.
Strangeful Things.
I didn't really have a good quote, so I just wanted to say that the movie sucked.
Maybe you should say the movie.
No, I'm leaving it as it is.
Okay.
All right, so we're going to talk about the Winchester House because it's been on the goddamn topic list since like 2017. And since I put it on the list, they even made a movie about the damn thing, which I saw in the theater with Joe. And as I just mentioned, it sucked. Like in 2018, there was a movie called Winchester and it starred Helen Mirren, and not even her supernaturally awesome elderly boobs could save the movie from itself and make it good. So I guess that's as good a way as any to start us off. You know, super classy. Also, Mells and Shooey are here. How's it going, you guys? How you been?
Hey.
And what do you think of Helen Mirren?
Well, she is a foxy septuagenarian.
That's true. And Shooey came back from his trip. Now we're all back together again.
Yep.
The gang's all
I'm
here.
sure you missed me last week terribly.
I did. Lord.
I'm sure. Well, I could see you because then you had to just deal with him.
Yeah, sit through one of Acadia's stories. Ay, caramba.
Oh, or a staff meeting with just him. Oh,
Let it out. Let it out.
This is a safe space.
Yep.
You'll make me edit all of this out anyway.
No, you can keep it.
Keep it right in there. Let everybody know the behind the scenes action.
Well, I think Helen Mirren is foxy as well, and I am just glad to have power because, believe it or not, we had a storm in the desert, and it actually knocked the power out here for a short time. Yes, and it was not fun.
I can empathize because I lost power and I lost internet like 15 times, and my neighbor got so pissed off that he's like, I'm not going to use fucking Spectrum anymore, and he switched. And then the next time it went out, his didn't go out, and I was like, damn it.
Oh no.
So I guess now that we're all together and connected and lit up, we should probably, just given the time that we're recording this, we should talk about the fact that the whole country is falling apart, and we hope that everybody is as safe as they can be. And I personally hope that everybody is being extra kind and understanding, because I think we need a lot of that right now.
Yeah, here.
Yeah, definitely. It's a very sad time right now.
A guy we went to college with, Shooey, Moondog, sent me a link from the Post that said Fordham is on fire. Not the school, but the neighborhood.
Right.
Man.
So, yep. We'll edit out that big silence.
Okay.
Yeah, let's.
I don't know what else. I don't know what else to say. I mean, I don't want to. I don't know. I feel like
we can't get too political. I
Well,
just
we
didn't
can't
want to
get-
leave
I
it.
don't want to
And-
drive it too far.
Yeah. Plus, I'm white, and I don't want to get into that whole. I obviously don't understand what's going on. Do you know what I mean when I say that? Like, I don't want that to come off the wrong way, though, to people, because I'm never going to know what Black America feels, and I don't want to get into.
I don't have to worry about getting my ass kicked every time I get pulled over by somebody, you know?
Yeah.
So I guess the best way we can sum it up is, like I said, everybody just be extra kind and extra understanding for what people are going through, especially if you can't understand it, because caring is not the same as understanding. You can care about something even if you don't fully grasp it. So try that.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
That fits.
Yeah, it's like the show. I fucking say shit all the time and none of you understand it, but you pretend that you care. So I guess that kind of counts.
Yeah, it's always in that direction.
Yeah. So I guess it makes sense that we'll tackle a relatively lighter topic this week. It's slightly more serious than the Fresno Nightcrawler.
Thank goodness.
Mainly because we know that it actually exists. But like everything else with American history, you can't tell the fucking story without touching on the fact that every fucking thing in this country is stolen. And if you think about it for more than 2 seconds, it makes you want to cry. But we'll do the best we can. Mells, you might as well take all the credit for the research for this episode since you went to the place, the actual place.
Yeah.
And you copy pasted everything from Wikipedia into the research notes.
Nice job.
Oh, yeah. I wish it was
Deep
that simple.
research.
Yeah. Give me more credit than that. I went to at least 3 other websites.
Yes, exactly right. At least neither of you had to watch that shit ass movie.
Oh, man.
Yeah, thank you. I'm glad for that.
Oh, Jesus. The research for this show it takes a lot more than people think. Like sometimes we even read books and shit like that.
Yeah. Who would have thunk it?
Yeah. We got to read books. It's like we're in school. Except
yeah.
Well, no, it is like college because we're paying and we still have to do the work. So
yeah, exactly.
Exactly like that.
All right, let's get the show on the road. Our heroine was born Sarah Lockwood Pardee. I wonder if it's Pardee. It would be cooler if it was Pardee.
Pardee.
Yeah, that's right. In the summer of
We're gonna party like it's 1839.
That's you.
There we go.
Blew up my date. There was a big cliffhanger of what summer she was born in.
Oh, sorry. We couldn't help it. We got the boogie in us.
Yeah, I know that is true.
When I saw that.
It was 1839 in New Haven, Connecticut, a city that I personally hate.
Oh, gosh. Hot take.
Well, yes, that is a hot take. I'm sorry.
It just hit me why.
It's not like I hate all the people in New Haven. I just hate New Haven. Anyways.
Oh.
It's about 20 minutes from Shooey in Lake Concord.
Wasn't everything right? 20 minutes?
Yes, everything is just about 20 minutes, except
I'm only 20 minutes from Shooey and Lake Ronkonkoma. Did you know that?
That's true. 2,500 miles and 20 minutes.
In 20 minutes.
As long as you can leap over the sea, I think you're pretty close.
There you go.
But I wanted to give you some, approximation of what we're talking about time-wise. 1839 is not really, it's nothing. So I'm giving you some other people that were born in 1839 so that you can kind of get your bearings. Adolphus Busch.
That is so bad. That's terrible.
He founded Anheuser-Busch, so that's fancy.
Good for him.
Yep.
Oh.
John D. Rockefeller, who co-founded Standard Oil and used to be the example people used for rich people. Like, hey, Rockefeller, why don't you pay for the drinks? But, is that going to change now? Are people going to be like, hey, Bezos?
Oh, man. Yeah. I don't know.
Zuckerberg.
Yes.
Yeah. Hey, Zinkelzonk, why don't you pay for everything?
Who the hell is that?
That's just, you can call Zuckerberg anything you want.
Oh, I was like, who?
Hey, Zapdoodle, why don't you pay, you curly-headed bastard?
Well, I guess with the Rockefeller thing, it's a pretty cool legacy to hold for, 100 and something years. Adolphus Busch has the honor of his great grandkids having some shitty reality show on MTV.
Oh, that's so true.
Really?
They do. Yeah, the Busch family. Yep.
No shit.
No shit.
Busch beer is bad luck for me. Every time I drank it in high school, something bad happened.
Well, is that what happened in New Haven?
You drank it in college on Long Island, too.
Yeah, look what happened.
Things didn't go well.
No, it didn't. Was that the Whiplash time?
Yeah, it was.
God, son of a bitch. Seriously, that shit's bad. Fuck you, Adolphus Bush.
I think you got puked on that night, too.
I did get puked on, I think, by Goo, who ate too much bologna.
Ew. Oh, my God.
Bologna.
His name was Goo. I should have known going in that it was going to be a problem.
My word.
Oh, well.
It was just a nickname, and he's a very successful nurse right now.
Yeah, well, why doesn't he pay me back for, I'm sure, my acid wash jeans that he ruined?
And flannel shirt.
And flannel shirt, exactly. Also born in 1839, Carolyn Ingalls, mother of the gal who wrote the Little House on the Prairie books, which are apparently super racist, and I never knew that because I never read them.
I never
my
read
daughters
those
are like, my daughters are both like, yeah, they're really racist. I'm like, all right.
I never read them.
Then.
And now I'm glad I didn't.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. Fuck that.
I mean, I watched the show.
I didn't even watch that stupid ass show, so.
Oh. Well, all right.
There's
then.
my hot take for the night.
You did your hot take. Fuck the Little House on the Prairie.
Watch that show.
Well, your daughters too, Mr. Ingalls. I don't give a shit. Take that, Nellie Olson. All right. Also,
Nellie Olson.
We seem to have a lot to say about this list of people born in 1839. All right.
Well, you wanted us to pad it. I mean, right? This is all natural.
Yeah. George Custer, the general who was super famous for getting killed, he was born in 1839.
His most famous act.
Yes.
Getting killed.
Paul Cézanne, the French artiste, who apparently was the bridge between Impressionism and Cubism, neither of which I understand, but that I will call impressicubing.
Yeah, that's Cubism, isn't it?
No, it's between Impressionism and Cubism.
Like, I don't see how those two merge, because I'm like Monet and Picasso.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I don't see the link there.
I would have thought that there would have had to have been a triangleism before Cubism, but nobody listens to me.
Hey, good one there.
Hey, math jokes. Hello.
Dad jokes.
Those were geometry jokes. Thank you very much, you fuckers.
Even nerdier.
So Sarah had a normal rich kid upbringing. Her parents were upper class and enjoyed the spoils of a wealthy childhood. But she was also super smart. She learned French, Italian, Latin, and Spanish by the time she was 12. But yeah, but that sounds more important than it is, because back then you didn't have anything to distract you. Like, even rich kids only had like one doll to play with, and the rest of the time was spent doing schoolwork or buttoning their shoes for like an hour.
Those shoes had a lot of buttons on them.
Yeah, they did. And I looked it up, and the toys back then really did suck. The dolls looked like that painting the Scream.
Yeah, they did. Terrible.
They had marbles made out of clay, which I assume was soft clay, so if you dropped one, it would just flatten out and not be a marble anymore. They did have the cup and ball game, though. That must have really, kept the kids busy. What the fuck are you going to make that fun? Unless you know that if you don't get the ball in the cup, father will beat you and make you work in a mine.
Oh, my gosh. It's terrible.
So now look, because while I was researching Victorian era toys, I got you all presents and I put them in the script so you guys can describe what you got for gifts.
Oh, well,
right,
I got tabletop 9 pins, which I guess is kind of like bowling, but with skinny wooden pins and a little wooden ball. So I guess we roll this down across the table and hope to knock the pins over. It sounds, that sounds great.
They kind of look like chess pawns.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. Or like those wooden things you buy.
Also, that shows you how inflation works.
It's true. Those wooden things you buy at like a Hallmark store, like the angels and stuff like that.
Oh, the willow tree angels? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, they look like those. All right,
the top off all my drumsticks. Sorry,
they also
Father.
look like that, too.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I got something super fun here. It doesn't have a name, but it's 3 prairie girls, and they are batting around a slice of pizza. So
that is a shuttlecock, I'll have you know, madam.
Oh, man.
You just picked something so the word cock would be said.
No, I didn't actually, and it does look like a piece of pizza. It actually looks more like a piece of pizza than anything else.
It looks like it's got a couple of slices of pepperoni on it.
It does, yeah, for sure. You can tell the crust.
And they kind of look like they're hitting it with turkey legs. So we're gonna have to put these pictures in the post for the show, because this is
quality radio.
Yeah.
So, correction, I suppose it's supposed to be badminton. However, I like my description much better.
Yeah. Hitting pizza with turkey legs. That's what they did.
I mean, what a Saturday night.
Yeah. And I got myself a fucking sad looking ball that looks like Hellraiser rejected it.
Sure,
like
does.
It's all sewed together and dingy looking.
Yeah, I want to know what kind of animal that's from.
Oh gosh.
Oh, I know, right?
It's a skunk, at least.
It's from Timmy, who refused to get the ball in the cup.
Oh no,
that was human meat. So
disgusting.
They were rich. The family was rich because her father was a carriage manufacturer, the Elon Musk of his time. Well, it's true. Technically, it's true because there was no gas combustion of the carriages that he made. So it's technically the same as Elon Musk. It's true. I checked, and you can buy a book called Carriages and Sleighs, 228 illustrations from the 1862 Lawrence Bradley and Pardee catalog by Lawrence Bradley and Pardee on Amazon. It's for 145 fucking bucks. So we're talking serious shit here. Yeah, I know, right?
For pictures of the carriages.
Yes, from 1862.
And illustrations at that.
Yeah. Well, they didn't have regular pictures then, did they?
I'm saying. No. I don't know. Let's ask Louis LaPrince. You just took the words out of my mouth.
So I did notice that Pardee is the last in the list, so maybe he was like the beta of the group. Fucking cock.
Maybe it just sounded better.
I don't know. Pardee, Bradley, and Lawrence sounds pretty good. Those all sound good to get. Like sometimes you can't, like nobody would have listened to Garfunkel and Simon. Like you can't.
That's true.
You can't do. Oates and Hall, come on. They never would have that. Also, because I fucking love the Sears catalog, I tried to find out how much one cost back then, but I failed in my mission. I can't find my, big PDF of the old Sears catalog, and I should have bookmarked it because now I'm fucking sad.
Oh, that thing was gold.
I know.
Yeah, that thing was excellent.
I did. That's how we found out about the record players that the the Axeman was telling everybody to buy.
That they
and
stole
the
fucking
underwear.
tickets.
Yeah, that's right.
And the underwear.
Yeah, that's true. Underwear for fat men.
That's right.
They didn't hold anything back. They said, "Hey, fatty, here's the underwear for it."
You can't go around freeballing it.
Yeah. We're not going to call them hefty. We're just going to call them fat.
That's right. I did find a book about carriages, though, and it had this awesome fucking quote in it, and I kept it. The sidebar wagon is one of the few examples of a standard vehicle which is peculiarly identified with this country. For a quarter of a century, it has changed very little in general shape, and it's not likely to do so for some time to come. The reason for this consistency is found in the practicality of the road wagon for its purpose, combining as it does lightness, strength, and a shape which is in keeping with the swinging stride of the trotter, pure and simple. Francis T. Underhill, 1897. Wow. And I included that just to fucking prove how boring everything was in olden times. Like, I know, I'm going to describe a carriage, and it's going to be a whole book.
So Underhill... Yeah, Underhill didn't have a vision for the future if that was 1897, he said.
No, he didn't. This wagon is never going to change. It's perfect. Unless we start using alpacas, in that case, we're going to have to change everything. But for now, we're going to stick with horses and sweet, sweet consistency.
That's great.
I kind of want to just say random things and then just go Francis T. Underhill, 1897.
You could totally do it. You could totally do that.
It's better than Keep On Flapping, which is
Hey.
You sold that to me. It cost
I
big
know,
money, and now you're making fun of it.
I know.
Devaluing it.
I'm devaluing it.
So fucking rude.
Keep On Flapping, Francis T. Underhill, 1897. Anyway, Sarah's mother was a socialite in New Haven's upper society. That meant that she spent her time having tea, I assume. Once I actually was told by somebody that they could not make a meeting they were supposed to make because they were organizing a tea for 30 ladies.
Oh.
And it was an English lady that said it.
Well,
I wouldn't assume anybody else would.
Nope. Well, I bet Sarah's mother did. But Sarah was one of 7 children, and she did not rest on her upper crust laurels. She continued her academic pursuits, and it was accepted to the Young Ladies Collegiate Institute at Yale. That was the girl version of Yale, because while Yale College, as it was known back then, before it was Yale University, it was progressive. It wasn't about to let any skirts into the real school. But I guess it was pretty good for its day.
That it even had a women's part. Yeah.
That's not terrible. She was a free thinker, as her parents were as well. She was proficient in musical composition, math, and sciences. And hold on to that, because it'll come back.
A big thing.
Yeah, fancy schmancy.
No, she wasn't just. No, that's funny that you say that, because she wasn't a big thing at all. She was actually very petite. She was only 4'10" and weighed approximately 95 pounds. And that, ladies and gentlemen of the listenership, is the same height and weight of Special Kissing movie star Kenzie Reeves. See, I did do research for the show. So there's something you can look up later for your own research.
Oh, is that safe for work?
No,
I would say no.
Special Kissing movie star means what you think it would mean.
Pornography?
That's what we... Yes, but we don't say pornography. We say Special Kissing movie.
Okay, all right. Well, don't look it up on your work.
Is it a cult you're in or something like that?
Yeah.
None of you guys read the handbook. Nobody.
Didn't read that part of it. That's for sure.
I totally missed that.
What are you, Mells?
Kissing movie.
5'11"?
I'm 5'9". Thank you.
So you would have been able to dunk on her like wicked.
Oh yeah,
I would towered over that lady. That's for sure.
I can't even imagine being like 2 inches less. Don't be looking her up while we're recording. It'll be distracting.
I would never do that.
I mean, she's not much taller than James, my 4-year-old.
Yeah, that's messed up.
Yeah. And I'll go ahead and tell you. So when I visited the house, they had a little like measuring chart that showed how tall she was. And so I took a picture of him standing next to it. And he was 3 at the time. But I mean, literally, it's maybe a foot difference, if that, at that time.
That's crazy.
And he's grown since then. So yeah, that's crazy.
I can't imagine being that
petite.
Like, I mean, I don't even know if petite's the right word. It's only like 4'10". Fuck, that's crazy.
I've known a few ladies that are
like
4'10".
an adult size.
Yeah, they're just super petite ladies.
Yeah, if you're like 4'10" and only weighed 95 pounds, that's like...
I think people are going to think there's something wrong with you.
I think I was in 2nd grade when I passed both of those.
Yeah, right?
Same, I think, yeah.
Well, Sarah was nicknamed the Belle of New Haven due to her stature and was considered one of the area's great young beauties because apparently they like their gals to be shaped like a bell.
Oh, God.
That's why they wore those big skirts, so they all look like bells. See? It all makes sense.
It all ties together.
All of this was particularly favorable for Sarah, as her family was also connected to other wealthy families in the area through church. Big surprise.
Yeah.
This is where she met her future husband, William Winchester, heir to the Winchester Repeating Arms Company fortune. William was the only child of Oliver Winchester and wife whose name I did not look up.
I never found the wife's name. I don't think I ever found the wife's name when I was researching.
Maybe it was Olivia. It was
you know
Oliver
what it was?
and Olivia.
Since it was
What?
back then, her real name was Mrs. Oliver Winchester.
Yeah, that's probably true.
That's true.
Yeah. Now, you may be thinking that they were related to Colonel Winchester from MASH, like I did as soon as I thought they found out they were from New Haven. I'm like, oh, I wonder if they did that in MASH on purpose. But no, that's wrong. Colonel Winchester was from Boston, not New Haven. And big surprise, MASH does not stand the test of time in many, many ways.
Oh,
Yeah.
is that a big surprise?
Yeah. I have fond memories from when I was a kid, but oh boy, there's some cringe in there now.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah. Well,
Louis.
and anything Me Too related.
Yeah.
Pretty much any show made before 2000-ish probably has a lot of those. Even
Yeah,
things
that's
like
true.
Friends and Seinfeld. And,
Yeah, that's true.
Well, and even though it had Alan Alda, and everybody loves Alan Alda,
how could you
he's
not?
he was like the Tom Hanks before Tom Hanks.
Oh, I don't know any of these people, so
That's all right. You don't know,
You don't know
who
who Tom Hanks is?
no, I do know who Tom Hanks is. I mean the MASH related folks.
Oh. Alan Alda was
Alan
Hawkeye.
Alda. Yeah.
And Fordham grad, just like us. Woo!
Woo!
Yeah. All right. On to Winchester rifles. Stay on fucking track here, people.
Yeah, what's
Now-
going on here? We've been off the rails a lot tonight.
I know. The company made a name for itself because it was the first to mass produce firearms that could fire multiple rounds without reloading. The 1873 model was particularly popular with settlers and was used during the American, quote, Indian Wars, unquote, and was known as the, quote, gun that won the West, unquote.
Woohoo! Yay!
Yep. And here's where we have to do one of those stops because, yes, that is what the gun was known as, but that implies that there was some sort of game show going on and we won it by shooting targets like little ducks that go around in a circle. I know that everybody knows this, but maybe it's everyone minus one. And for that one person, I say, we murdered all the people that already lived here and we took all their shit. Murdered. And this is going to come up later in the story. No joke. Like,
Yeah,
it's a fact.
yeah.
So, that
much,
said, you could see where it would be handy to not have to spend 3 minutes sprinkling gunpowder down your 8-foot musket barrel with an ox horn or whatever it was, and then stuff the ball thing down in there with a special stuffing stick before you could shoot at someone again. Especially if you missed the first time. Like, how did anybody fucking win a war? Like,
I don't know. It took forever.
I'm gonna shoot it once and then I'll just hit you with it because it's like 9
Yeah.
feet long.
It takes forever. Before the machine gun, it's like, why do you think there was 100 years war? It's 'cause-
Yes, it took so long to load the fucking guns.
Exactly.
Everybody's like, time out.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, Jesus Christ. And then their big plan was, all right, you know what we should do? We should all line up and wear really bright clothes so that they know what they're shooting at.
It was just strictly a numbers game. That's all war was. It was just a fucking numbers game.
Jesus. All right. Well, the company sold approximately 700,000 rifles through 1916. Icons such as Buffalo Bill Cody and Annie Oakley were known to use this gun in their Wild West show. The company grew rapidly, and the Winchester family made a fortune off sales. This fortune would become the supposed foundation of Sarah's strange obsession. Strange obsession. Many years to come. Oliver passed away in 1880, leaving the fortune of the company to William. Now, before we talk about the fortune, let's talk about how horrible we all are running around shooting everybody with all these rifles.
Yeah.
Because I thought And I realize now that it's Winchester, but wasn't Remington a kind of rifle, or was that just the guy that like painted the pictures of the people shooting the rifles?
No, that's a rifle.
No, it's
too.
a rifle as well.
But was it named after the artist guy?
No, it was named
No.
after the guy who created the rifle.
Much like the Winchester rifle.
Yeah, it was exactly like the Winchester.
Huh. So it was just a coincidence that that Western painting guy was named Remington?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh. Well,
I'm not sure, but I'm pretty but I am pretty sure that the gun was just separate.
Prepare to enter an immersive world of tragedies, hauntings, legends, and folklore. Southern Gothic is an independently produced podcast documenting the rich history of the American South. Stretching from the swamps of Louisiana to the shores of the Carolinas, deep into the mountains of Appalachia, and across the battlefields and earliest settlements of Virginia. Guiding you through some of its darkest tales and eerie locations. Join us now on Southern Gothic, the podcast.
fortune-wise, let's think about this. They sold 700,000 of the things, and I looked up how much one cost in 1880, so we'll use that as the average price. And that price was $40.
Woo.
Wow.
So
back then, that's a lot of friggin' money.
That's a lot of money. So 700,000 times 40, if it was just $40, is 28 million. So now we're going to use 1900 as the average value of the money because I had to pick something. You know what I mean? And I tried to pick something that was kind of in between. So according to that site that we use all the time that tells us how much money is worth, a dollar in 1900 is worth $30.52 today. That means that the Winchester gross sales were $854 million.
Wow.
Holy fucking shit.
Well, she had a lot of money when she got that fortune. I know that.
It's almost like there's money in selling guns, and it's in some people's interest to try and sell as many as possible.
Oh man. Did you just break it? Did you just
stands the test of
something?
time?
Yeah.
Jeez. It's almost like there might be an association whose job is to sell as many guns as possible.
No, I've never heard of such a place. So,
and an association like that would have to be national, I would assume.
And they would probably have to sell rifles.
Yes, they would. So, there's a lot of money in guns.
Yeah.
Fucking $40. I don't think I would spend $40 for a gun now. Because why would I spend $40 to shoot myself, which is the best I would possibly do with a gun?
Oh man.
Although Shooey we did shoot guns out behind my grandfather's that time.
Yes, we did.
That was kind of fun. But I bet that cost way more than $40. Because if it was $40 in fucking 1880, holy shit.
I know. That was an expensive gun. That's what I was saying.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Huh. Well, I guess if you're going to be able to kill as many people as possible. Also, there was no laws, apparently. You could just shoot anybody you wanted.
Right.
Well, yeah.
So that's also a handy part of the era.
Convenient.
Everything was coming up guns. All right. So now on to how Sarah cashed in on all that loot. William and Sarah Winchester married on September 30th, 1862, before his father passed, leaving him the company. William was treasurer to the company alongside his father. The marriage was fairly normal, and 4 years in, daughter Annie Pardee Winchester was born. June 15th, 1866. This would mark the beginning of Sarah's tragic life. That started with having a baby when you're only 4'10" and only weigh 95 pounds. Jesus
can you
Christ.
imagine birthing that child? I mean, wow.
The kid would look like half the size of her.
I mean, yeah, it would at least be the size of up to her knee.
That's ridiculous. My baby can dunk on me. Anyway, The poor baby passed from marasmus.
Yeah.
Which sounds like a biblical name for somebody, marasmus, but it's not. It's a rare disease in which the body suffers malnutrition due to an inability to metabolize proteins. And I say that's bullshit because I don't think in any fucking stretch of the imagination that any doctor in 1866 who just had a jar of leeches as his main medical component would know what metabolizing proteins even was.
No, but they probably knew if the baby was not gaining weight or not taking like sustenance, like wasn't, probably crying all the time, then there was something wrong and it was probably deducted.
They would have said vampire or some shit like that because they didn't know anything.
I think Dr. Frankenstein would have known what this is.
Yeah, see, that's true too. It is that time. Oh,
yes, it is.
Victorian era. Oh.
Yeah, my favorite time.
Mm-hmm. And they never had more children. Sarah never recovered from the death of her daughter. Sarah and William remained married, but she became distressed, often over the source of the company's and in turn her own wealth. She felt the company profited from death, something that would become an internal struggle for the rest of her life. And also, not for nothing, she was 100% right, because the target practice wing of the company was not doing well at all. Whereas the shooting other people wing was doing great guns. Excuse the pun. So, William died not long after his father from tuberculosis in March of 1881. So things are fucking going downhill fast. Yeah. But they'd been married almost 20 years when he died. So it wasn't like she, fucking snuck up on it or anything like that. Like she was in for the long haul.
Right.
But she inherited the whole fortune, estimated to be $20 million in the late 1800s. Additionally, she received about 50% ownership in the company, and her daily income was $1,000 a day, which in today's money would be $25,000 each and every goddamn day. In other words, she was rich as fuck.
Oh, wow.
And I cannot imagine if I got $25,000 a day. Like, that's why I think rich people just keep getting richer, because at a certain point you're like, there's nothing else I can buy. What the fuck am I going to buy?
Yeah.
Right.
It's
true. I can't buy a diamond bed because it wouldn't be comfortable, even though
you only need so many, 150-foot yachts.
Yeah, exactly. And it's even though he's canceled now, Louis C.K. put it, he's like, yeah, being rich, we just have the same shit you have. It's just all better. And that's really what it comes down to. It's, yes, you also have blankets. They just are a lot better than our blankets for some reason. Yeah,
they buy more expensive blankets than we do.
Well, I remember I didn't know what thread count was. So when I got to college, one of my roommates had like super high thread count fucking sheets and comforter, and we thought it was magic. We're like,
what?
Yep,
I know.
literally.
I didn't learn about thread count until I was much older than I probably should have been, and still to this day, I don't know if I understand it because, I don't know if I really understand the thread count. But whatever.
All I know is
that's another story another time.
That kid would go away for the weekend and we would fight over who got to use his blanket, because we called it the cloud. Oh, it was so soft. Anyways, now
I have a question.
Yes.
Is tuberculosis the same as consumption?
That is exactly what it is.
Okay.
Yeah. And when I worked at the cemetery and I had to work in the office, and I think we talked about this before, at least once, there was a book that went, the cemetery opened in like 1854 or something like that. And there was a book that actually recorded every single person that was buried there.
Buried?
And they had cause of death in one of the columns, and it was like consumption.
Oh gosh.
And then, but then there were like random ones that was like fell, consumption, injured by a crazy man, consumption, brain fever, consumption, murder. Like,
oh my gosh, fell.
But, yes, it was just fell. Oh,
poor thing.
Could elaborate a little more. Like, did he fall like just a short way and hit his head on a rock, or did he fall off a cliff, or what?
Do we know why they called it consumption, or does it matter? I don't know. I don't
know. No. Probably because it consumed your lungs.
Oh, jinx.
Yeah,
okay.
That's jinx. We could be 1866 doctors.
You guys are just so cute.
That's right. I happen to have a jar of leeches, so therefore my medical practice is open for business.
All right, Dr. Acadia. Ding, ding, ding.
Mm-hmm. That's right. So, after tragedy ravaged Sarah's life, she became more and more paranoid of her husband's fortune that was now in her hands. Every day the fortune grew, she felt an increasing urge to do something to appease the spirits of those killed by a Winchester rifle. She referred to the inheritance as blood money. Some say she went to a medium and expressed the guilt over the deaths. The medium suggested she move west and build a house for the spirits, which the only honest medium in the world, because why wouldn't the medium just go, I suggest you give me $5,000.
Exactly, right?
And I'll go build a house for the spirits. Now, supposedly that story about her talking to the medium and everything like that has been debunked by a book called Captive of the Labyrinth, Sarah L. Winchester, heiress to the rifle fortune, a biography of her life, which is pretty catchy.
Yeah, it is.
But you just reading the title of that book counts as researcher of the year for you, Mells. That's a good job.
Thank you.
In the book, they say that after the death of William, she gifted money to start the Winchester Chest Clinic at New Haven Yale Hospital and moved to California to start anew with family members. They said there was never any communication with anyone about benevolent spirits seeking revenge against Sarah Winchester. So, what do you think? She was getting haunted by ghosts?
Well, I mean, you know me, I like a ghost story, so I like the mythical part of that, but rationally, I'm pretty sure she just wanted to get away from that tragic part of her life that was there in that area. So moving all the way across the country would be what made sense to her, I'm sure. Yeah,
but I mean, not for nothing, she had to drive through all those places where everybody was shooting each other to get to California.
That's true. That's true. Well, maybe on her carriage, they knew who it was, and they were like, ceasefire.
Yeah, or they were like, "Don't look out the window of the train, ma'am." Oh, she probably couldn't. She probably couldn't reach the window anyway because she was so short. She just sat there looking at the wall of the train, unless somebody gave her. Oh no, there weren't even phones, so there was no phone book. I guess she would have had to sit on a Bible.
Yeah.
Well, I think there's one known photo of her, and it is in an open-topped carriage, and that's it. There's only one photograph of her ever.
That's actually a shoebox.
It's actually a pumpkin, like Cinderella, just sitting in it.
Okay.
So, ghosts? No ghosts?
Shooey?
Like, do you think she believed in ghosts?
I think she saw something, or she was just tormented, by the thought of what was being done with her family's, product. And I think it kind of drove her nuts.
Yeah, I can see that.
Well, I mean, that type of guilt is real, especially if you already have trauma, that's happened in your life. I mean, your child passes, then your husband passes from a terrible disease. And then, you just start thinking about all the ways that people have died, like you said, with her family's product. So sort of, you can get tangled up in that.
Yep.
All right. So, Mel, since you've actually been there, why don't you bring us through the house?
Okay. Well, staying with the theory that she went out west to start righting the wrongs of anyone killed by a Winchester rifle, she ended up in San Jose, California. So in 1884, she bought an unfinished farmhouse in the valley. And I don't know what the valley of San Jose looks like, but I don't know if it's the valley in LA. But anywho, she hired carpenters to build onto the farmhouse as she saw fit. There was no rhyme or reason, supposedly, as to why she built the way that she did. And before long, the property boasted a 7-story mansion, which is crazy to think about. 7-story mansion. These carpenters worked around the clock to appease the spirits. She thought she could please them by never stopping the construction on the house.
Stop. Why would that? Why would that?
Well,
why would the ghost be like, work, you fuckers?
Carpenter ghosts.
Carpenter ghosts.
In my day, we never took a break. You piss your pants while you're hammering nails.
Don't work.
That doesn't make it easy.
So dumb. I don't know. I mean, I guess that was part of her grief, perhaps, was that I'm never going to stop working on this house because
she didn't do any of the work. No. She just bossed everyone around.
Bossing.
Yeah, but you know,
never stop telling people what to do.
Right, but you know that it was her idea.
You hammer till your arms break, Sonny, Jim, or I'll tell you what for.
What's for?
Oh my God. Well, the house itself was pretty spectacular. According to legend, she added several unusual touches to the house in an attempt to keep any spirit from contacting her directly or getting trapped in the house. So there were staircases that ended abruptly, windows to interior rooms, doorways that opened to a drop several stories high, and hallways that went literally nowhere. Yeah, these hallways went nowhere before circling right back into themselves. The house was crazy, and it was so tiny because she was a tiny lady. And
so it was all her sized.
It's like walking through like a Malibu Barbie or something.
I could stand upright in there, but the hallways were so slender. If that. They were skinny and the rooms were not big. But I imagine, too, someone that was 4'10" and 95 pounds, that room was big for her,
Right.
And they had her bed in there, and the bed was, to me, tiny. I mean, it's like Goldilocks, I guess.
Right.
That bed's too tiny.
You know where else that happens? Did you ever go to Boston and go to the USS Constitution, the ship? Everyone was super short back then. So everything on the ship, you got to duck because it's built all small.
Oh, I've never been to Boston, so I have to go.
All right. Well, I guess we'll put that on the list of trips we have to take.
Yeah, you pay for me to go. I'll be happy to do some research on it. All right.
Well, 2020 retreat can be there.
Oh, yes.
We'll go see Jen Martinelli. So
there we go.
That worked out fine. Yep.
The company trip.
Yep.
Well, the 1906 earthquake did bring the mansion down to 4 stories, but Winchester continued working on the home. Yeah, I mean,
but it was like 3, 5, and 6 that fell. The rest of them stayed.
Yeah, it was crumpled up pretty badly.
Mm-hmm.
So she had a dedicated room for seances and held dinner parties for the spirits to please them, which I find to be particularly funny because these seances were held every night from midnight until 2 a.m. So can you imagine if you were I don't know, when I watch old movies and stuff, I do see people out on a stroll, and perhaps they were on a stroll at midnight and you just walk by there and there's a lady serving soup to people that aren't really sitting there.
Ghost muffin.
Well, I want to know what happened to the food. The ghosts weren't eating it, right? So
no, I would not unless she thought they were
processing that.
The poor workers that were there on the night shift, the night shift fucking carpenters would sneak in and eat the little crumpets and shit like that. Yeah.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Like when they came to clear the plates, they would like eat it real quick and be like, "Oh, this one had a hearty appetite."
You're
no
a
scrap
glutton,
for this
Mr.
one.
Spirit.
Yeah. Oh, that one had to unbutton his pants.
The ghost told me he likes pork chops. Maybe you should try that.
More biscuits? I don't mind if I do.
Right, exactly. Jesus Christ.
Oh, the numbers 7, 11, and 13 were also spread throughout the home, as 7 and 11 were considered lucky numbers and 13 was not. It was meant to ward off evil spirits. And remember how we said, that she was really into math and she was really into those types of things. She was a free thinker. So she had these numbers kind of built into the house based on that. And
so she was a numerologist in addition to being...
Yeah. She really was. A shrink. She really was, though. She was like really into numerology as well. She's a very fascinating lady, this woman, to me anyway.
She also thought that ghosts could be fooled by simple puzzles and like...
Well, true. I know.
Turning the sign the other way like the fucking coyote and the roadrunner. Like, oh no, the ghost will never catch me now.
He's baffled.
I painted a tunnel on the side of the wall. He's just going to run into it and knock himself out.
Hey, I said she was fascinating, okay? I didn't say everything she did made sense.
I think there's a ghost in the room. Quick, throw one of those golf tee triangle puzzles they have at Cracker Barrel.
Throw out an Acme anvil real quick.
Right? Jesus Christ.
Down one of those staircases that doesn't go anywhere, so...
As things went on, maybe the fuck ups were just the people that were working from like 3 to 5 a.m. They're like, oh, I don't know where these. No one gave me the blueprints. So I'm just going to build these stairs all the way up to the ceiling and then just stop.
Well, to go off again on the numbers there, but let's talk about why Sarah really put these odd angle staircases and hallways in her home. So I mentioned that she loved math and science, and most likely she built the house to tribute a few of her favorite things that fascinated her. Personally, I prefer the ghost stories, but who wouldn't want to think about her hosting ghost-only dinner parties and setting the table for them? I mean,
that's the best.
That's honestly the best part of it to me.
Because she was as short as a little kid, too, so she could have just had stuffed animals in the chairs going, oh, it's you, Polly Prissy Pants.
True. People could have thought she was just like the child of the house having little tea parties at midnight.
You are cool and tough and not fat at all.
That was creepy. Whatever voice you just did was creepy.
That was Cartman.
Well, there you go.
Oh, well, so when you went there, Mells, like how was it, like just super touristy, or was there any vibe from it, or?
Yeah. So first of all, it's absolutely beautiful on the outside, and the part that we did get to see. It is rather touristy though, because they sell 2 different tours of the house. Okay. They sell one that's like, I think $40. I think that was the one we paid for. And you only get to go in like specific parts of the house. So the kitchen, and you see a few washrooms, and then you go up a few of the staircases and you see some of the weird windows, stuff like that. Her bedroom. But then there's another one where you can go like underneath all of that, and you can see like some of the damage from the earthquake that they never fixed. That one was a little bit more expensive and lengthy in time, and so the AKA don't go with a 3 or a 4-year-old and try to do that one.
Yeah, right.
But they did, and they also, I think it's hilarious too that you hated the movie, because they've got a whole room, obviously, of like memorabilia and stuff to buy, and they have like a carriage in there, and inside the carriage are nothing but DVD copies of Winchester. I wish it would have made me happy to see that if I had also known that you hated it so much at the time.
Yeah, you would have bought it for me and said,
I
look,
would
now
have.
you can watch it every week.
I would have. But the parts of the house that you did get to see were cool. I mean, like I said, it's fascinating to me just looking at the construction, because this is the house after the earthquake, obviously. So, but I got a little bit claustrophobic even at some times in there, just because it was just a cramped space, and only so many people could go at one time throughout there because it's limited, like space as well.
Sure. Well, Helen Mirren is 5'4", so that was very wrong. That's a whole 6 inches taller than the actual Sarah.
Wow, they got that so wrong.
Yep.
Yeah, but you got to find a 4'10" actress that isn't doing special adult or whatever.
Special kissing movies. Thank you very much.
Movies. Where else are you going to find somebody at 4'10", 95?
How much acting does it have to be to fucking try to feed an orange to a ghost?
So stupid, Acadia. So dumb.
I'll peel it for you, but you have to eat it. All right. So Sarah died on September 15th, 1922 from congestive heart failure. She went peacefully in her sleep, and her remains are now interred in New Haven, Connecticut. Her will was in 13 sections. Sarah was a big fan of the number 13 and signed each section independently. She left everything in the house to her niece, who took what she wanted and auctioned the rest. According to the legends, it took 8 truckloads a day for 6.5 weeks to empty everything out of the house.
Wow.
Why would you do that, though? Like, no one's going to have 8 truckloads a day for 6.5 weeks of worth of shit to put back into the house.
Right.
Would they?
Yeah, where else would you have that much stuff?
Yeah, well,
I guess the idea was that she was selling it all, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, she was selling it. So
That's legend anyway. There's no evidence to support the claim. They can't get any receipts from the moving guys. Anyway, she also has very few photographs because she was extremely private and did never want her picture taken. The house was then auctioned to the highest bidder and is now a museum attraction, and a very popular one at that, frequented by Mells.
I would go again if I had the opportunity.
All right, well, good for you. It would take that long.
Good for you.
Wow.
That's
rough. Yeah, well, it would take 6.5 weeks to empty all the shit out of my house too, and it's like 1,000th that size. So it was a good story though. All I ever knew about the house was like the 10-minute things they show you on those shows about spooky shit, like In Search of and stuff.
Yeah.
If you want to discuss it further, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram. It says ABD Instagram.
Did you ever see Stairway to Nowhere?
To discuss it further on Twitter.
A hallway that has no ending.
Stupid.
I'm just going to keep laughing. All right, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Shooey Time, SHOOEY Time. Then you can get Mells on Twitter at MellsBells84 and on Insta at Superficial Mells. We already said Shooey, so I'm going to skip that one. Acadia is just at Acadia on Twitter. He's also at Acadia Einstein on Instagram, even though he didn't put it in the script. And you can follow the show as well at Strangeful Pod on Twitter and at Strangeful Things on Instagram.
I forget I have an Instagram. The only time I am reminded that I have an Instagram is when the Strangeful Instagram tags me in things.
Well, if you have a minute, please rate and review us wherever you listen to the show. It will really help us get noticed by new listeners. And tell your friends, too.
Or your relatives, even if you don't like them.
Yeah.
Maybe especially if you don't like them.
Yeah, just because you don't like them doesn't mean they won't like us. And if we have tickled you to the point that you want to laugh some money right out of your wallet, you can support the show by going to patreon.com/strangeful. And like we get fun perks and shit like that. And I guess that's it. That's all we have. There's nothing else to talk about. I mean,
that's it.
The Winchester House is all fucking topsy-turvy. And everybody's the main takeaway is going to be looking up that other person that I mentioned. So I really ruined everything.
Well, count your blessings.
And keep on flapping.
So dumb.
Francis T. Underhill, 1897. Bye.